Hey everyone, my name's Mini Assassin, and today I'll be attempting to beat Pokémon HeartGold without dealing any damage. Those of you who watched my last video would have heard me say this. I think the next video will be Fire Red without Poké Centers, just for a change of pace. Well, I tried that, got to the SSN, and wiped over and over to my rival's Kadabra. So I'm declaring that one not possible due to a lack of Dark types. Regarding today's real run, on top of not being able to use attacking moves, I've added some other rules to make the run even harder. The full rule set is in the description. Before we can begin the run proper though, we need to determine the additional remake rule. Spin the wheel! This run's gimmick is... no held items. With the run officially started, we can pick our starter, Sheldon, the Chikorita, then fight our rival Chuck L. Since we can only use Growl, we lose the fight, but the game continues anyway. Once we get Pokéballs, I catch a Geodude named Penny and a Sentret named Leonard. To gain experience, we can have Wild Metapod use Struggle to knock themselves out. I do this until Sheldon reaches level 9 and learns Poison Powder, so we can move on to Violet City. In Dark Cave, I find and catch a Dunsparce named Raj, then wait until nighttime to catch a Ghastly named Amy in Sprout Tower. With some more training, Amy can learn Curse, giving me the confidence to take on Faulkner. Pidgey can't touch Amy, so I have Sheldon poison him, and he goes down. Pidgeotto can heal with Roost, so I have Amy curse him, then put him to sleep with Raj's Yawn. Since he's asleep, he can't heal, winning us the Zephyr badge. Moving on to Azalea Town, we can take on Chuck L, for real this time. Amy takes down his Ghastly with Curse before he can do any damage, then curses Zubat before going down. He barely does any damage to Raj, who puts Quilava to sleep, letting Sheldon lower his attack before poisoning him. Despite being a vastly higher level than anyone on our team, Quilava's insistence on spamming Leer and Smokescreen means he doesn't do any damage before falling to poison and winning us the battle. Bugsy's Scyther can be rather difficult for the second gym leader, especially after setting up Focus Energy. I lead Sheldon in an attempt to bait U-turn before switching to Amy, but he just uses Leer, so I use Hypnosis, then Curse and have Penny wall him. Both of his Cocoons go down to Curse as well, winning us the Hive badge. On the way to Goldenrod City, Sheldon evolves into Bayleaf, then we can take on Whitney. Her Clefairy can threaten big things with Metronome, but thankfully she doesn't do much before calling Baton Pass and sending in Miltank, who immediately uses Attract. Then this happens. Anyway, Amy's able to come out and use Curse, but she isn't immune to Stomp thanks to Miltank's Scrappy ability. Regardless, Miltank falls and Clefairy comes back out, but she doesn't have the damage output to take out our team, so she falls. And Whitney gives us the Plane badge. Now it's off to Ecruteak City, where Leonard evolves into Furret and we face off against Chuck L in the Burn Tower. Right away his Ghastly curses Raj, so I switch to Penny on a Mean Look. He uses Curse again, leaving himself with a sliver of health. But because of Mean Look, Penny can't switch and goes down. Ghastly uses Curse again, taking himself out and sending in Magnemite. I use Yawn to put it to sleep, but Raj falls in the process, letting Amy come in to use Curse. Magnemite just goes for Supersonics before falling though, so Zubat comes in, landing a soft wing attack as I switch to Amy. Curse takes Amy out, but Zubat doesn't do very much before falling. Quilava gets poisoned, but even though he takes out Sheldon, Leonard lasts long enough to win us the battle. The next gym leader, Morty, is tough, and in order to deal with his poison types, I catch a Sunkern named Bernadette. I also have Amy and Penny evolve into Haunter and Graveler, respectively. Bernadette learns Leech Seed by level up, so she can effectively take care of Morty's Ghastly and first Haunter. Amy curses his Gengar before going down to a Shadow Ball, since he hits like a truck. Last is another Haunter, who Bernadette can Leech Seed before going down to a few Nightshades. Regardless, Haunter goes down and Morty gives us the Fog badge. With the ability to surf outside of battle, we can head to Mahogany Town, where some guy tells his dragon to do a murder. I try the fight with Price, but he's still too tough, so I head to Cyanwood City and take on L-list Chuck. He only has 2 Pokemon, but they really pack a punch with Focus Punch. See what I did there? With such a small team, he doesn't really stand a chance, so we win the Storm badge. Despite having a higher level team than Price, I decided to take on Jasmine on our way back to Mahogany Town. Her lead Magnemite likes to try Thunder Wave shenanigans, so I switch to Penny since she's immune. Raj shrugs off the Sonic Boom on the switch, then uses Yawn after just barely surviving a Thunderbolt. I wasn't sure if Magnemite would use Sonic Boom here, so I let Raj go down and Magnemite falls asleep. With Magnemite asleep, Bernadette can use Leech Seed while it snoozes. When Jasmine heals, I have Amy use Curse to speed up the process. Magnemite number 2 goes down similarly, but without Raj, I have to hard switch to Bernadette, who takes far too much from a resisted Thunderbolt due to having the defenses of a wet paper bag. Thanks to Sheldon's Reflect though, Steelix can't take out anyone other than Amy before we win the Mineral Badge. With everyone at a higher level now, we can try Price again. Seal sets up the Hail and Bernadette uses Leech Seed. Then Spite lets us disable Seal's ability to heal with Rest, taking him down rather quickly. Amy manages to land a Hypnosis on Dugong before using Curse, then switching to Raj, who quickly spites down Sleep Talk. When Dugong uses Rest again, Bernadette is safe to come in and use Leech Seed, allowing us to take out Price's most tenacious Pokemon. Raj puts Piloswine to sleep, but gets frozen, so he can't spite down Blizzard. The sleep gives us a free switch to Amy, who uses Curse, but Piloswine can still deal massive damage. The only reason we won is because he missed a Mud Bomb on Raj. Nevertheless, a win is a win, and we get the Glacier Badge. Up next is the Team Rocket Radio Tower takeover, and you'd think we'd be able to breeze through it, but Petrol has a team of 5 Coughings and a Wheezing, who all know Sludge. Given Sludge's 30% chance to poison, Bernadette's weakness to it, and Curse's health drain, I can't get past this battle with my current tools. I find and catch a Pinecone named George, and evolve him into a Fortress. With George's poison immunity, we can much more easily deal with Petrol, who gives us the key to the next area, where we get ambushed by Chuck L. His Golbat gets seeded, then takes out Leonard before going down. Quilava takes out George with a Flame Wheel before getting put to sleep, then cursed. When he goes down, Sneasel comes out, dealing big damage to Bernadette on a crit. Raj puts him to sleep while Amy confuses him so that when he wakes up, Sneasel takes himself out. Raj puts Magnemite to sleep as it paralyzes Bernadette with Thunder Wave. She hits a Leech Seed, and from there she can barely hang on to hit a Grass Whistle and take out Magnemite. Haunter takes her out with a Shadow Ball, but after getting him to use Curse on both Sheldon and Raj, Amy can come in and finish the job. Once we get the card key from the underground, we can go back to the radio tower and easily dispatch Proton, Ariana, and Archer, allowing us to go to Blackthorn City. There we find the Move Reminder, who enables us to teach George Toxic Spikes. Facing off against Claire, we lead Raj into her Gyarados to put her to sleep. Then after healing with Roost, switch to Bernadette to land a Leech Seed. Gyarados can't deal enough damage to take out a single Pokemon before falling and sending in Kingdra, who demolishes Raj with a Hydro Pump. Sheldon can poison the dragon, then set up Light Screen, which lets George survive long enough to lay down a layer of Toxic Spikes. Both of Claire's remaining Dragonairs have the Shed Skin ability, which can remove status conditions like poison. To deal with this, I have Amy use Curse, which takes them both out. Claire, however, is having none of this, basically saying, "Nuh-uh," and forcing us to go on a hunt for approval from her higher-ups. After answering 5 questions that Claire herself was apparently too stupid to get right, she gives us the Rising Badge and we can head to the Pokemon League. Before that though, we need to fight some women in Ecruteak. They aren't really a challenge, but afterwards they force us to climb the bell tower and see Ho-Oh. I engage the mighty beast in battle, expecting to be demolished by the sheer might of the legendary... That works too. On the way through Victory Road, Chuck L challenges us one last time. Sheldon poisons his Sneasel, then George walls him while also spreading spikes and Toxic Spikes. Typhlosion threatens essentially everyone on the team, but thankfully, Bad Poison's damage increases every turn, taking him out quickly, although both Sheldon and Leonard go down in the process. Bernadette single-handedly takes out Golbat and Magneton with a combination of Leech Seed, Ingrain, and Grass Whistle, but goes down against Haunter. George comes out and stalls Haunter and Kadabra for the win. Once we get to the Indigo Plateau, we can prep our team for the Elite Four with some move rearranging. Here's our final team leveled up to level 47 to match Karen's Houndoom. First up is Will and his Psychic types. His leading Xatu likes to spam me first, so I have Bernadette use Leech Seed and George spread both types of spikes, which takes out Jinx, Executor, and Slowbro. Will's second Xatu goes down to Amy's Curse, allowing us to move on to Koga, who uses poison types. Ariados likes to open with Spiderweb to prevent switching, so I have Amy confuse him, then Curse. He hits himself twice, letting us switch to George and set up spikes. When Koga baton passes to his own Fortress, I'm wary of him using Toxic Spikes, but he just explodes instead. Crobat sets up double teams as Sheldon uses Reflect, then I switch to Bernadette and manage to land a Leech Seed. Crobat can't even take out a single Pokemon before falling and sending in Venomoth. After switching to Raj to put him to sleep, Bernadette seeds him, and he goes down without any trouble. Amy curses Muck before being taken out, but he just spams minimize before going down, and the already damaged Ariados comes back out. I decide to play it safe and stall Ariados out of power points and force him to use Struggle, which wins us the battle against Koga. Bruno is about as easy as always, and since Hitmontop can't hit Amy, we can put him to sleep and curse him before sending in George to spread his hazards, which take out Hitmonlee, Machamp, and Onix with the help of some good confusion luck. Hitmonchan gets healed by a full restore and uses Fire Punch to graciously thaw out Raj, who had been frozen by an Ice Punch. This lets us get a yawn off to put him to sleep, then switch to Bernadette, who does her thing and Hitmonchan goes down. Karen is the last Elite Four member, and after cursing her Umbreon, Amy barely hangs on to life as we switch to George to lay down both kinds of spikes, while Umbreon goes down. Since George is quad weak to fire, Houndoom is baited out, and he takes out Leonard and Raj before going down. Amy uses the last of her strength to curse Gengar, taking her out as she spams Destiny Bond, which only works if the user is hit by damaging moves. With Amy down for the count, we need to rely on Vileplume to take herself out from Petal Dance confusion. She eventually does, but not before taking out George. Bernadette lands a Leech Seed on Murkrow before going down, and Sheldon is able to hold out with Reflect and Synthesis to take her out and win us the battle. Lance is tough. Like, really tough. After dozens of attempts, I finally got lucky enough, and, well, here's the battle. Gyarados gets put to sleep, then seated, before being walled by George. Charizard comes out because of the previously mentioned quad weakness, so I switch to Raj, who clings onto life to get a yawn off. Bernadette can seat him, then we can stall with Protect and strategic switching. Lance's first Dragonite rocks Amy with a Fire Blast, before being put to sleep and seated. Once he wakes up and nearly takes out Raj, we can put him back to sleep and heal with Roost before switching to Amy to get some health back. Thanks to Outrage confusing him, Dragonite takes himself out. I misclick and curse Aerodactyl with Amy, but he misses his Rock Slide, so we get off unpunished. George can tank quite well thanks to Iron Defense, allowing us to take out the last of Lance's pseudo-dragons. The second to last Dragonite has terrible luck, missing a Thunder as well as 3 Dragon Rushes, even if he does take down George. Once he's out of Dragon Rushes, Leonard can tank a Hyper Beam and we can switch to Amy on the recharge as the last Dragonite comes out, only to be immediately cursed, which, thanks to Protect, effectively wins us not only the battle, but the entire run. At least it would if there wasn't another battle waiting for us in the postgame. You know what I'm talking about. None other than the red fight atop Mount Silver. I make a few team changes, swapping out Raj for Penny since I need a Pikachu wall, as well as Amy learning Destiny Bond and Nightmare, and teaching Sheldon Rock Climb since it's a required HM to get to red. Let the final battle commence! After using the Hypnosis Leech Seed combo that has become my go-to, I switch to Penny and replace the Hail with a Sandstorm. This will remove the chip for red side after a few turns, but not having to deal with it myself is a massive help. It also gives Blizzard its accuracy check back, allowing us to stall Lapras out of Blizzard power points much more safely. Without the threat of being annihilated, Bernadette can get off a Leech Seed and Grass Whistle, which lets George set up hazards one last time. With Toxic Spikes up, Red's Blastoise is easily taken care of, and Snorlax is taken to full restore range quickly. Thanks to some clever switching, he isn't too much of a big deal. The big deal comes out next, Charizard. He takes out a weakened Leonard while Amy puts him to sleep and curses him. Penny takes a chunk from a resisted Flare Blitz and sets up Sandstorm, which takes Charizard out a turn sooner than Curse alone would've. Because of my greed in using Destiny Bond instead of Curse, Venusaur puts Amy to sleep, then takes her out along with Penny. After a long time stalling though, he finally runs out of power points and struggles himself down, winning us the challenge, for real this time. Thanks for watching! If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and maybe subscribe while you're at it. If you made it this far and want to be in a video, comment what you want my nickname theme to be. It could be based on a movie, book, game, even objects. I just need ideas.